In a silent valley, shrouded in the morning's gentle mist, a young boy named Kale lived a quiet life. His small cottage, with its garden lovingly reclaimed by nature, was the only world he had ever known. But a whisper of change was in the air, a calling from somewhere deep within his heart. The thought of leaving, of stepping beyond the familiar, filled him with a nervous flutter. Still, as the early sun painted streaks of light across his room, he knew he had to go. With a heavy heart and trembling hands, he packed a small satchel, his mind racing with a mix of fear and a strange, budding excitement. The world outside was vast and unknown, and he was just a small boy with a slender build and messy brown hair. Taking a deep breath, Kale stepped out into the misty dawn. He paused at the old garden gate, a silent goodbye to the only home he'd ever had. The air was cool, and dew clung to every leaf, sparkling like tiny jewels in the soft light. He turned his back on the cottage and walked towards the edge of the woods, towards a future he couldn't yet see. As he stepped under the canopy of the mystical forest, the world transformed. The air grew thick with an emerald glow, and the trees, ancient and gnarled, were draped in moss that pulsed with a soft, living light. It was here he met his guide, a small, ethereal forest spirit. It floated before him, a translucent, leafy creature emitting a warm, gentle light, beckoning him forward. The forest was a wonderland of bioluminescence. Every flower, every patch of moss, every floating spore seemed to have a light of its own. The little spirit would hover near a vibrant bloom, its glow illuminating the intricate patterns on the tree bark, painting the scene in shifting hues of green and blue. Kale, his initial fear melting away, followed his glowing companion down a soft, moss-covered path. Shafts of emerald light pierced through the canopy above, like spotlights in a grand, natural cathedral. Tiny glowing spores drifted down from the high branches, dancing in the still air. Kale looked up, his eyes wide with wonder, his face softly illuminated by their magical glow. They were like tiny falling stars, each one a promise of the magic hidden within this ancient wood. For a moment, they paused their journey, resting beside an ancient moss-laden tree. The forest was hushed, the only movement being the gentle drift of the tiny lights through the air. Kale felt a sense of peace he had never known before, a feeling of being connected to this vibrant, living world. He watched the forest spirit as it hovered patiently, its light a steady, comforting presence. Slowly, cautiously, Kale reached out his hand, his finger coming so close to a glowing leaf. The light reflected in his eyes, and in that moment, the timid boy from the quiet valley felt a surge of courage. He wasn't just a visitor here. He was part of the forest's story now. The path eventually led them out of the dense woods and into a clearing where vast weathered stone ruins stood against the sky. Nature had begun to reclaim this ancient place, with vines and moss creeping over fallen pillars and broken arches. Luminous rays of sunlight filtered through the crumbling structures, casting long, soft beams across the stone debris. Kale explored with a growing sense of awe, his hands tracing the cool, mossy surfaces of stones that had stood for centuries. The forest spirit would glance back occasionally, its light a reassuring beacon, especially when Kale hesitated at a particularly dark archway. Golden light bathing the ancient stones around him. As he ventured deeper, he knelt beside a mossy stone and brushed away the debris, uncovering a faint ancient symbol carved into its surface. It was a sign, a clue that he was on the right path. Their exploration led them to a dark, stone entrance, a stairway descending into the earth. The forest spirit hovered at the threshold, its light a stark contrast to the darkness below. From the depths, a faint blue light pulsed, beckoning them into the unknown. Together, they descended. The stairway opened into a vast, crystalline cavern. The walls sparkled and shimmered, catching and refracting the little spirit's glow in a dazzling display of prismatic color. It felt like stepping into the heart of a giant geode. The forest spirit drifted ahead, its light dancing off the countless crystal formations, painting the cavern in cool blues and soft golds. At the very center of this subterranean wonder, on an ancient pedestal, floated the object of their quest, the Echo Stone. It pulsed with a gentle internal light, scattering soft rainbow hues across Kale's face as he approached. This was it. This was the source of the whisper that had called him from his home. With a steady hand and a heart full of a newfound bravery, Kale reached out and gently touched the Echo Stone. As his fingers made contact, a soft light pulsed outwards, and a warm, resonant hum filled the air. His expression was no longer timid but determined, filled with the quiet strength he had discovered on his journey. The forest spirit floated beside him, and together they watched as warm waves of color pulsed from the stone, growing brighter and brighter until the entire cabin was illuminated with a brilliant, radiant light. The boy who had left his cottage in fear had found not just a magical stone, but the light within himself.